Greetings family. This is Leah, Salmon, the Naturally You coach, best-selling author, speaker, nutritionist, life coach, live blood analyst on a mission to help 100,000 black women to eat for health, think for happiness and live in harmony, or what I call becoming naturally you. Thank you for joining me today on this live. Greetings lovely people coming in. Greetings fresh connections. Greetings Sophia the doula. Thank you for joining me today. Greetings sis. Thank you for joining me. Lovely to see you all. Oh, lovely to see you. Thank you, darlings, for coming in. So today we're going to be, in fact, before we get started, again, the 25% off book sale that I'm having on my website, on all of my books and ebooks, is going to be finishing on Sunday. So on Sunday, 11:59 p.m. GMT is going to be the last time you get the opportunity. Greetings. Hey, sis! You did is here as well. Greetings, sis. Wagwan niche. Yeah, it's going to be the last opportunity you get to get my books, my ebooks or physical books at a 25% off discount, and that's 12 p.m. GMT or 11:59 p.m. GMT. I hope you're all well. Greetings, sis. Lovely to see you. Greetings, Michelle. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, so as well as that, if you are a black mother or a black woman who would like to become a mother, you have children of any age, you have had children, then I would invite you to come and join us in the Black Mama Circle. This is the third time that we're going to be running the Black Mama Circle, which is a 9-week online natural health and personal development online program specifically designed for black mothers. And that's going to be starting on Thursday, the 30th of April. And you can find out more about that at thenaturallyyoucoach.com/Black Mama Circle. Greetings, lovely people. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Friday. We're going to be in lockdown for another 3 weeks in the UK. I'm not sure what's happening in the States, but we got the news yesterday that it's probably going to be another 3 weeks. So in that time, and what I think has transpired for a lot of people over the last few weeks since the whole COVID-19 situation has erupted almost, is that things are fragile. Our income is fragile, our job security is fragile, and most importantly, obviously to me, most importantly, our health is fragile, our life is fragile, the health and life of our family and friends is fragile. Nothing is as secure as it could be unless we're constantly working on it. And I think that fragility normally becomes more apparent when in areas that we're not necessarily paying as much attention to. So in your business, you might be, working along and, serving customers and, working with new people that are coming into your business and all this kind of stuff. But if you are ignoring future-proofing your business, or if you're ignoring making sure your business is insured, or if you're ignoring an emerging market in your industry that you don't want to acknowledge, when things change, when things become, well, as the young people say, when things get peak in these streets and big changes happen, that's when the fragilities in your business, that's when the weak links become very apparent. And I think for a lot of people, they're realizing that there are a lot of things that they maybe should have been focusing on a bit more. And this situation has created a mirror for them to reflect on their life in general and realize that there were probably things that they should have been paying more attention to. It's come out in greetings, darlings. Greetings. Thank you for joining me. Gay Cuz is here. So I think most people probably know by now that initially when COVID-19 was kind of taking hold and numbers were coming out. And I don't actually think we can trust all the numbers. I think that's become quite obvious as well. We can't actually trust all the numbers that are coming out with COVID-19 because, some of the memes that have been going around about the fact that you could get bitten by an alligator and end up in hospital and they say you've been attacked by COVID-19. I think that's a bit of a reality right now. Greetings, lovely people. Thank you for joining me. But I'm not denying that COVID-19 exists. I'm not one of these people that thinks that COVID-19 does not exist. I do understand that viruses mutate. A virus can mutate, and the influenza virus is just one virus. The influenza virus alone can mutate thousands of times, and it's not that easy to keep up with it. And most of the mutations start off in animals, which is why we've had, the last 3 have come from different animals. And our access and our exposure to these animals exposes us to the mutations in those viruses. And the virus initially was said to be more prevalent in white males, but it definitely has more of an impact on people who have got comorbidities or who have already got underlying health issues. And because Black people have been separated from our cultural way of life for so long, us in the West anyway, have been separated from our lives, and we've tried to assimilate into the lifestyle of where we're living now, the diet of where we're currently living, and we don't always have as much easy access to the things that kept us strong and fit and healthy ancestrally. A lot of us are suffering from illnesses that a lot of our parents never really experienced until they came here. And I'm not necessarily always actually talking about our parents, because if you're my age, your parents might be kind of 70, 80, 60, 70, 80, and they would have probably come to the US or come to the UK, maybe in the 40s, 50s and 60s. So I'm talking about, so they would have maybe already assimilated and maybe left behind their culture, but I'm talking about kind of our grandparents, great-grandparents, who still held on to a lot of, or who were still raised in our way of life, eating our foods, having the sun exposure that we used to have, drinking the cleaner water, drinking water from the streams, being more active, not sitting down as much. All of those things meant that our elders were really strong compared to what we are now. We might have more modern advances in medicine and all those types of things, but it hasn't translated in us actually being any fitter. Modern technology is good for a lot of things, but not everything. Back in the 70s, when they decided they were going to have the war on cancer, and again a few decades ago when they decided they were going to demonize fats so that it could help heart health, because heart disease was running rampant throughout the US, and then it was the UK followed suit, and everything went low fat. The war on cancer meant that there were more advances in cancer medication and treatment. Radiotherapy got more advanced, chemotherapy got more advanced, surgeries got more advanced. But we still now have worse heart conditions than we did back then. Cancer rates continue to increase. There's been no slowdown in the rate of increase in cancer. All of us know someone who is either living with cancer right now or who has passed on from cancer. So I think the modern way of doing things that we've kind of embraced and held on to at the expense of holding on to the traditions from our ancestors has created the situation that we are in now. And our health is, again, something that a lot of people have realized is probably more fragile than we anticipated. And I think also a lot of us have such a reliance on the medical system that this just didn't feel like it was ever going to happen. We've got advances in modern medicine, and we've got antibiotics, and we've got antiretrovirals, and we've got, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and we've got all of these amazing things. I think a lot of people felt that something like this wasn't going to happen. It was something for the movies. It was something for Outbreak, the movie. It was something for, it just was never going to get this close to home because we've got all these modern advances. But what you're going to find with modern life is that the further we advance, the more we are looking back. And one of the African principles is Sankofa, look back before you go forward. And that's why the symbol of the Sankofa is the bird that's looking backwards like that, because we need to learn from the past. We need to hold on to a lot of the things that kept us great in the past as we're moving forward. So again, that's why one of the sayings that I created was modern technology plus ancient wisdom is going to create vibrant health for us. But as well as health, I feel like this situation, like I said, has kind of exposed the fragility that exists in a lot of different areas of our life if we're not focusing on them, or we don't put any effort into focusing on them at all. So today I wanted to speak about 3 holistic investments that we can make in our health right now. And it's not necessarily always an investment of money, but more an investment of time and our resources, our current resources, because some of us have got a lot of resources. We're just not resourceful. We're just not using the resources we had. And again, now we've got this lockdown situation. I think a lot of people are also realizing, wow, I used to have a lot of time and freedom to do a lot of stuff, and I just was not being resourceful. I had the gym that was down the road. It was £15 a month, and now I would do anything to be in the gym. But when the gym was open, I'd be like, oh, I'll go tomorrow. Oh, I'll go next week. Do you know what I mean? We had events that we could go to. We had seminars we could go and learn things at. We had museums. We had, places where we could enjoy the arts, enjoy nature. And a lot of those things now have just been taken away from us. And obviously that's going to, again, hopefully create a shift in our appreciation and our gratitude for what it is that we did have, so that when we have more access to these things again, when this situation passes, because this too shall pass, and we will be back in a situation where we do have, our basic freedoms back, because it feels like we've had a lot of basic freedoms taken away from us right now. Hopefully that will create a focus, help us to shift our focus so that we are more resourceful with our time and resources. But the 3 things I'm going to recommend that we start making investments in during this time and utilizing, because not every, and I appreciate, two things before we start. Number one, I appreciate not everyone is not busy right now. I appreciate that some people have got more busy due to this situation, and some people are working flat out due to this situation. So I don't take for granted that there are a lot of people who still have a lot going on, but I also appreciate, and I do know for a fact, that there are some people who have a lot more time on their hands than they ever have before, and so they can use the resources of time right now. And the second thing is, I also don't want anyone, or I don't want to encourage anyone to fall into the mindset of, wow, I've got all this time and I would be completely wasteful, if I didn't create amazing things during this lockdown. If I come out of this lockdown and I haven't achieved, 1,000 things, that means I'm lazy. Because again, one of the investments that I'm going to be speaking about is the investment in our health. And one of the things that I think a lot of people don't give themselves enough time to do is to rest and recuperate and nourish and replenish themselves. So with this information and with the recommendations that I'm going to be giving, I want you to always keep your particular goals at the forefront and what's best for you at the forefront, so that you can, because it's entirely possible for you to achieve a lot without burning yourself out during this time. And there's absolutely no need to try and replicate anybody else's movements or successes or decisions at this time. That's another brilliant opportunity you have, is to go within and stop, trying to replicate do what everyone else does, and work out for you what is best for you and what is most important for you at this stage. Greetings everyone for coming in. This is Leah, Salmon, the Natural You Coach, and today I'm talking about 3 holistic investments that you can make during this time. Well, right now, in fact, 3 holistic investments you can make during this time. Thank you everyone for joining me. Pregnancy Without Fear, Fran Glams, thank you for joining me, sis. Lovely to see you all. So the 3 areas that I'm going to speak about is our money, our skills and education, our skills, knowledge and education, and our health. So I've already spoken a bit about our health, but these are 3 areas that I think that have been highlighted as being kind of fragile, and I'm going to give you some recommendations of some things you can kind of put some time into thinking about and taking some action on during this time, so that should something like this happen again, and the reality is something like this is going to happen again. There's no definite time on it, but this is not going to be the only time we are faced with this kind of a situation. The situation that was predicted, in fact, about 5 years ago, when President Obama said, if we ever do, he didn't, I don't think he even said if, I think he said when a pandemic does hit, whether it's going to be in 5 years or 10 years, we need to be more prepared. So again, we can use this as an opportunity to make some investments. And an investment, again, is where you put your time and energy or resources, whether that's your resources of time or your resources of money, into something that's going to benefit you, that's going to have a result. So a lot of us is using our time now, to relax, which is definitely an investment, but we might be using our time in ways that are not necessarily investments. And so here are some examples, or here are some recommendations of some things that you can kind of put some time into learning about and thinking about now that are definite investments. So as far as money is concerned, again, some people have realized that they only have one stream of income. And this situation has put that one stream of income somewhat in jeopardy. You might be employed and have a job, and, for your work, you might be furloughed. You might have had some of your income covered. You might be a small business that's been able to access some funding or some grants. Your company might have had to close its doors because of the social distancing, and you have been they've kept you on, or you've been able to utilize sick pay or holiday pay or something like that. But for some people, they are, we're talking about everyone from the little, one-man self-employed business to big multi-million pound companies have realized that they just did not put enough time and energy into making sure they had more than one stream of income. And again, this is something that a lot of business advisors and financial advisors have spoken about for years. They've spoken about for years. You need to make sure you're securing more than one stream of income. If you're on Instagram, which obviously some of you are on Instagram, if you do a search for Charmaine Simpson, she's the co-director of the Black History Studies organization, but she's also a financial advisor, and she puts up like thousands of posts, but at least 200 of them, she's spoken about making sure you've got multiple streams of income, because you never know when one's going to drop. I mean, we know that the job market has never been stable. And this, obviously this is an unprecedented situation, but we know the job market's never been stable. So it's always been encouraged that you have more than one stream of income. So during this time where you may have more time, now might be an opportunity for you to work out, okay, what else can I do? Or what other forms of income can I start working on to mitigate the challenges that are being faced right now. The other thing that a lot of people in finance have always spoken about is making sure you have an emergency fund. Now, some people speak about an emergency fund of making sure you've just got £500 somewhere. Some people speak about making sure you've got 3 months of income, so that if anything does happen with your work, you've got some money to tide you over until you do have another job. And when I was listening, I was on a group live stream yesterday where some different experts in different fields were talking about this coronavirus and how it's affecting the Black community. And there were a group of brothers who were speaking about finance. And one of the brothers who was a teacher, his name's Daryl Harper. In fact, I think he's the mentor of Charmaine's mentor. He was speaking, so he's a financial educator now. And he used to be a teacher, and he was very comfortable in his work. And again, a lot of us were very comfortable with our financial situation. We were making just enough to get by and everything was fine. And then as a teacher, he didn't take any time off or no days sick for 10 years straight. He excelled in his departments and all these kind of things. And then he had 2 bereavements. And on both occasions, he was told that he could not take time off in order to go and spend time with his family or to go to the funerals. And at that moment, he realized he needed to leave. But at that time, or I'm not sure what the time difference was, but basically he realized he needed to leave the business, the work. But he had actually saved up 2 years of salary. So he knew he had 2 years of money saved up to live off, so that, and he knew he wanted to start a business as well. So he knew that if he didn't make any clients or get any business for 2 years, he would still be able to, secure his 4 walls. Lisa Nichols, the famous motivational speaker that spoke on The Secret and has the business Motivating the Masses and has got 2 books, I think, or 3 books. She spoke about the fact that I think it was for about 2 years, she consistently was saving because she knew she had a big dream that she wanted to pursue. But again, a lot of us don't really put a lot of money into saving. In the Black community, I know in America, banks have shut down and taken loads of people's money. That hasn't necessarily happened that much in the UK, but it's not uncommon that savings go missing, especially if you're saving in an investment type product. There is a slight insecurity with that, and that can sometimes discourage people from saving anything at all. But it is really important for us to have something to fall back on, whether it's that you've got enough money to, change your tire. If your tire blows, you've got enough money to fix your window. If someone puts a brick through it, if a tree falls down onto your garden fence, you've got some money to erect it again. Or if something more challenging like this situation happens. Because as much as the main work that I do is with health, I know for a fact that if you do not have money, if your financial situation is not secure, and I don't mean you don't have loads of money, I'm talking about because some people have already paid off their mortgage, they don't have a lot of external expenses, they don't need a lot of money to live on, so money is not something that they really need to focus on. but they have their walls, they have their environment secured. But then you also have people who are literally living hand to mouth, and they just don't have even the brain space to comprehend working on their health because they're just trying to get by. And both of those, when you don't have your financial situation secured, it can be really challenging. Don't get me wrong. Some people's mentality overrides any challenges that they're experiencing, and they go on to create and do great things. But some people, if they don't have their basics secured as far as their financial situation is concerned, it can jeopardize their mental capacity to focus on anything else, which is why I feel it's so important for us to make that somewhat of a priority, or dedicate some time to making sure that our finances are somewhat in order. So making sure that you've got things like life insurance in place, especially if you have children or properties. Do you have assets? Do you have things that you can sell if things do get crazy? If you maybe don't have a lot of savings, or you don't have a lot of bonuses that are going to be coming through, your future isn't secure. Accumulating assets, buying things that are going to be valuable, that are going to appreciate, that are going to go up in value as opposed to going down, because cars are not assets, and a lot of things that we have are not necessarily assets. DVDs are not assets, like if anyone buys DVDs anymore. Those kind of, like entertainment isn't assets. Things that are going to go up in value are assets, and making sure you've got some assets is going to be useful, or something that you can start thinking about now. So some of the things you can start thinking about now that would be investments in your financial health and wellness would be things like opening a savings account if you don't already have one. Even if you don't want to go that step, or that you're not in a position to do something like that, getting a glass jar. I was just drinking water out of this. Getting a glass jar and starting to put money into it, like on a regular basis, that you don't touch. I remember the way I've been most successful in savings is opening a savings account that I can't take money out of. So when it comes to savings and things like that, you can, if you know that you're not great at savings, you can kind of protect yourself on both ends. So you can either make putting money into the accounts like out of your control. So you basically open a savings account that you put money into via a direct debit or a standing order. So you have a standing order to put money into your savings account on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. So it's not left up to you to decide, okay, I'm going to decide and I need to manually go and do that, because then you having to make that decision might be like, yeah, but I need to get some more food, or I need to cover this bill, or I need to go, I want to go and buy this ticket somewhere. If it's automated, then that's going to make your savings easier. Now I don't have my stuff set up like that because I'm not too bad at putting money in. It's taking money out. Like I used to save money for about 25 minutes and then I'd realize, oh no, I need to take it out and do something with it. So I put the money in, but I have an account that I can't take money out of for 2 years. So, and that's allowed me to save more money than I have ever saved in my whole life. And just seeing that money tot up has made me a lot more aware of my finances and my financial situation. So that is definitely something that you can invest in right now. And also getting advice, speaking to a financial advisor, speaking to a financial educator like Sister Charmaine Simpson, Daryl Harper, Dana Byfield, I think the sister's name is. There's a lot of people in our community that you can speak to about securing your financial life right now. Time is not how we define it. Time was about being busy, not relaxing. Thank you for that, sis. Thank you. I appreciate that comment, sis. Greetings, Jadisha. Nice to see you. So the first thing I'd recommend that we invest some time in learning more about and developing is our financial situation. The next thing is our skills. Now, there's a book called Deep Work written by a guy called Cal Newport. He's the same guy that wrote the book about social or digital detoxing. That's it, digital detoxing. And in the book, he speaks about the fact that, number one, we have a very distracted life right now. Social media and email and instant messaging and all these kind of things has meant that we don't really have a great capacity to focus and concentrate deeply on work that's creative, that can create solutions to common problems. But the people who are what he calls knowledge workers, or people that are able to give themselves the time and space to think deeply about different subjects and topics and hone their craft and become real experts in what it is that they do, they're the people that are going to change the world. And in your industry and in your career or in your profession, most people do understand that most people's security lies, or you have more of an opportunity to create your success in the work that you do in your chosen professional field when you give yourself the time to become an expert in it. You give your, like, in the general scheme of things, in the general economy of things, highly skilled workers and knowledge workers are less expendable than people who are not as highly trained in their field and in their profession. So what this situation gives us is the opportunity to, number one, in fact, decide whether the work that you're doing, you even like it. Because, again, some people never liked their job in the first place, but felt trapped and bound to it. And now you may be in a position where you have had to work from home, or you've even been released or let go from your work because of the current situation. So now, again, gives you the opportunity to invest some time in, well, number one, take stock of your situation. Do I even like because we spend a lot of time in our work. You know, some people work 16 hours a week. Some people work 60 hours a week, to be fair. And if you're going to put that much time into anything, again, as far as our mental health and wellness is concerned, because again, as much as my focus is physical health and nutrition, I also am fully aware of the fact that if you do not like what you spend the vast majority of your time doing, which is your work, that's going to have such a negative impact on your stress levels, on your anxiety, on your motivation for life, that any work that we put in, or a lot of the work that we could put into improving your physical health, just is not going to manifest as much, because you are so mentally challenged by feeling like you're trapped in your work. So this can provide an opportunity for us to focus more on, do we like the work that we're doing, and can we use this as an opportunity to retrain? Because right now, everything is online. You can get courses for everything online. You can go to Udemy, Kajami, YouTube, LinkedIn, everything. If you want to reskill, if you want to retrain right now, if you want to start a business right now, now is such an amazing time for you to be able to do that. If you want to develop the skills that you already have, so that you're more likely to get a promotion when work does stabilize for you, again, now's an opportunity to lift your head up instead of having your nose to the grind the whole time. Lift your head up and think, okay, actually, I love the work that I do, but I want to be able to do it better. You might love your job, you might love your work, but right now you might be able to use this opportunity to become even better at the work that you're currently doing, so you can serve your customers, your clients, your business, your organization even better. Or you might realize, okay, this is actually not the job for me. This is not the environment I've been in. And again, I can use this as an opportunity to completely retrain, to completely reskill myself, so that I can move towards doing the work that I actually do love and enjoy. Again, with all the use of the online study that is around. And you can also use this time, if your actual work is not a consideration for you, or your career, you already feel like, or you are already someone that constantly does develop yourself in your career and in your skills and in your knowledge for the work that you do. Now can also be a time where you develop personal development skills. So you start exercising, you learn how to dance, you learn how to do yoga, you learn a martial art, you learn how to play an instrument. Like, playing an instrument is actually a really challenging thing. I know some people are naturals when it comes to these kind of things, but learning how to play an instrument, mastering an instrument, mastering a language, those things are, they use parts of our brain that we don't always normally get the ability to use or the opportunity to use. And there's such fulfilling things to do, because sometimes people are learning an instrument and the instrument is unyielding. It's not just going to do what they want it to do. You have to be patient and practice and, be committed to the process. You know, it's not something like a game on your phone where if you don't like it you can just chuck it to the side. It's really a brilliant social personal development tool, which is why in a lot of private schools sometimes have the stipulation that a child can't be admitted into that private school unless they know another language and they play an instrument, because they know that those two things, as well as all the academic prowess that they may be coming to the school with, are going to mean that the child is generally more well-rounded. And again, even as adults, we can be more open to develop ourselves in that way by learning something or developing a skill that we have, or even something that you saw as a hobby. I mean, I literally just started doing crochet the other day because I love crochet and I just didn't give myself time to indulge in it and to participate in that like hobby that I had. But it's such a nourishing thing that I can do, and I can develop my skills in it. And that's not the other thing. There's, you know, other things that I want to start learning more of and developing myself in. But now is something that you can invest your time in doing something that doesn't just revolve around how you're going to be making money. Again, money is very important, which is why it's the first thing I spoke about. But you can't have a life where you just focus on money either. You have to have your other things that you want to develop yourself in. Because stagnation, there's no growth in stagnation, and stagnation is no way part of a beneficial human experience. Greetings, lovely people. Thank you for joining me today. Lovely people that are coming in. Today we're talking about 3 holistic investments that you can make in your life right now. So the first thing I'm recommending that we invest time and resources in is to develop and secure our financial situation, especially during this time. The next thing I'd recommend we focus some time on is developing our skills, as far as our knowledge and our employability, even in some cases, and just our professionally and personally developing ourselves. And then the last thing that I spoke about initially was our health. So investing in our health is obviously something that's, going back to skills. So some of the action steps, so with the money, the action steps you can take is, number 1, looking at how you can develop other income streams. Number 2, starting to save money in some kind of a way. And number 3, finding a way to get some advice on how you can better position yourself financially and getting some financial education and learning things that you maybe didn't know before about how you can make your money work for you and all these types of things. As far as skills are concerned, the things that I would recommend that you do is, number 1, look at your profession and your career. Are you doing work that you love doing? If not, what would you love to do? Just making that decision, or how could you change what it is currently that you're doing so that you do love it more and it is a more nourishing way for you to spend the vast majority of your time. The second thing that you can do is look at ways that you can improve the skills that you currently have that you use for your work or for your business or for your career. See if you can develop those skills, or if you are going to be moving profession or changing profession and career, what skills, what courses, what training programs can you access right now in order to do that. And the third thing I'd recommend you invest some time in this weekend is to look at how you can develop skills that are going to personally benefit you. So things that are going to help with your health, things that are going to help with your mind, things that are going to help you enjoy your life. So that's when things like enjoying your hobbies comes into it, learning different forms of exercise and different forms of movement and those types of things, and then the professional development as well. The last thing that I'm going to speak about is investing in your health. Now, again, in this COVID-19 situation, our mental health is being challenged. There's no doubt about that. For most people, our mental health, whether it's anxiety of not knowing what's going on, or concern about our future financially, whether it's just feeling a bit anxious about when is this all going to finish. There's no real set answers in place about what our future is going to look like, how soon we're going to be out of lockdown, what it's going to look like to be out of lockdown. All of those things. No, there's not a lot of stability right now. And then our physical health is definitely compromised because again, if you do feel that this situation is real, our physical health is definitely being compromised because we can't freely move around the world as much as we were able to before, because there is something that's quite contagious that's moving around that we could succumb to. And if you have comorbidities, if you have other health challenges, then that makes you even more susceptible. So people who do have other health challenges at the moment or are becoming even more aware of those health challenges and how they're having an impact on their life right now. So I think that right now, things that we can do, looking at our diet, looking at our physical health, and looking at our mental health, there are so many things that we can do to focus on those kind of things right now. Which is, with our physical health, obviously we can look at our diet, and just very simple things like just working out how much sugar and dairy are we taking in on a daily basis, on a regular basis, and what can we do to curb the intake of foods like that, foods that we know that are not going to help our general health, much less our immunity, much less our immune system, those types of things. Making sure we're drinking more water, making sure that we're well hydrated, making sure that we are, like now, there's been so many people that have said, okay, I want to become plant-based, I want to become vegan. Now is definitely the opportunity for you to focus on that and start adding more vegan foods and more plant-based foods and more raw foods to your life and diet again. Because again, some people do feel like they weren't able to work on their health because they didn't have enough time to work on their health. Again, now is an opportunity because you possibly have more time to invest into spending more time in the kitchen, making more foods from scratch, investing in better quality foods, maybe buying yourself some more equipment or bringing out of the cupboard some equipment that you've had in there, like blenders or food processors or mixers, those types of things, getting some cookbooks out that you maybe need to dust off because they haven't seen the light of day. But there's so many. You have more opportunity now, or some of you may have more opportunity now to focus on changing the way that you're eating and making a long-term change in your eating habits as well. And again, some people don't actually have more time. Some people are just as busy as they were before, but they now realize that their health is something that they haven't been focusing on, and now they maybe have the motivation to focus on it so that they don't fall victim to what's going on right now and what could happen in the future as well. And then physically, again, this is an opportunity, if you haven't already been doing so, to invest in replenishing your energy through sleep. Sleep is so important. There's a book that I used to recommend all the time called Lights Out by T.S. Wiley. And there's a new book that I'm listening to now on Audible called Why We Sleep. And both of those books are really informative on just how impactful it is to make sure that we are getting enough sleep. Sleep is definitely one of the things that I've always been challenged with. I don't think it's due to the 10 years of being like breastfeeding and being pregnant. So during pregnancy, it wasn't always easy to sleep. And then breastfeeding, kept me up through the night and stuff like that. But I mean, even when I was younger, I wasn't the best sleeper, but I was a teenager, so early 20s. So, I had stuff doing, I had to socialize, couldn't sleep my life away. But now, that stage of my parenting has finished. There's, breastfeeding is finished, pregnancy is finished. So, but even now I still find trouble just getting enough sleep. So that's definitely one of the things that I'm trying to work on at the moment because sleep is just super important. But then again, for some people, sleep has been challenged because of their, the busyness of their lifestyle. But now you may have more time to invest in that. And then definitely movement and exercise. And now is a bit of a tricky one because, we're not able to move around as much as we were as far as going to the gym and, working out socially. But exercise is one of the things that's been granted that we are allowed to do. And it is something that we can definitely maybe more take advantage of. I know I've personally seen more people running around, running up and down my road in fitness equipment. Literally, I'm sitting at my window now and I just saw a guy with his 2 children running behind him. So now's an opportunity to invest in our health, our fitness, because exercise and our body moving around is so important to keeping our immunity high, helping our body to get the nutrients out of the food that we're eating, helping our digestive system, helping our circulatory system, helping our lymphatic system, all of the systems that our body relies on to maintain health. All of those things are improved by exercise, so definitely getting more exercise. And then as far as improving our mental health or focusing some time on our mental health is concerned, again, simple things like affirmations, saying affirmations, creating affirmations in the first place based on the goals that you want for yourself. And we're going to be doing some online courses on affirmations and goal setting because the physical workshops are not happening. So we're going to be doing, well, not for right now, we're going to be doing some online courses on affirmations and the importance of setting goals, especially during this time, and how affirmations can help you protect your mental wellness at this time, and how to set goals in a uncertain time as well. So setting goals and then creating affirmations from those goals are things that we can do to keep our mental health stable at the moment. Greetings. Greetings, sis. Oh, greetings, Alive Events. Nice to see you. Greetings, Denim Con London. Jamal, nice to see you. Love you, on my way to the shops. Thank you, my love, needed this. Thank you so much, sis. Thank you for that comment. I was currently being introduced to Total Life Change products. Do you know much about it and would you recommend it? Unfortunately, I have never heard of Total Life Change products, so you can let me know about those so I can check them out. Thank you for that. I love learning about new stuff. But yes, so our mental health and wellness is very important, and we can maintain that through affirmations. I literally just redid my affirmations last night. So when I write down my affirmations, I write them down, print them off. I print them off a couple of times. So I've got one in my table next to my bed that I can read before I go to sleep, and then I have one that I have in my bathroom, and I have it on top of the bathroom cabinet so I can read it in my bathroom looking in the mirror. And then I will normally also record an audio of them so that I can listen to them on my phone with headphones in, so that I'm just constantly reminding myself of the goals that I want to achieve, and just keeping my mindset as positive as possible. And I do have times where I fall off, but when I get back on it, I normally am able to stay on it. And especially during this time, because I do have challenges with the anxiety, during this time, having affirmations, I do find it is so very useful. The other thing that I think is really useful that we can invest in this weekend with our health, as far as our health is concerned, is exercising times of silence. Now, I know some people are going to be like, I do not need any more time of silence. I am at home. I live alone. When I'm bored of the TV and social media, all I do is sit here in silence. So some people don't need any help with spending some time in silence. But I think, again, some of us have had such busy, engaged, constantly switched on lifestyles that we have never had the time or given ourselves the opportunity to sit in silence and be still. Because whilst, it's useful to have, access to all the information that's out there, there is a definite benefit in us being able to sit in silence so that we can just listen to the voice that comes from within, because we all have that voice within. We all have that, whether it's your voice, the voice of your ancestors, however you want to term it. We all have that information within us. We all have that internal dialogue that we have going on. And when we are taking in information constantly, and advice and guidance and all these things, we're taking all these things in constantly. If we don't give ourselves a chance to stop the consumption of all this information and allow ourselves time to work it all out in our brain and to put it into some kind of order in our brain, we're just going to kind of end up on like a hamster wheel. We're going to keep going and going and going and going, and we don't give ourselves that time to just stop and be still. And a huge part of spiritual practice and development is just allowing yourself to be still and be calm and be at peace, so that we can hear and tune into what's important to us, and work our way through all the thoughts and the feelings and the concerns that we have, so that out of that we can start making choices and decisions that we use to guide our lives, as opposed to our lives being guided by the decisions of other people and the recommendations of other people constantly. So spending time in silence, I remember that was something that my spiritual guide, Dr. Malachi Z. York, recommended, that we spend 2 hours in silence a day. And when I heard that, I was like 17. I was like, I ain't got no 2 hours to spend in silence. I'm busy socializing. I got no 2 hours to spend in silence. And I'm not sure if I have a whole 2 hours right now, but I definitely appreciate now so much when I do get the opportunity for silence. Like, I will literally, when I clock off in the evenings and the children are with my husband, I will literally tell the children, I'm not here, don't come into the office. Don't come into the office. I'm not here. If you want to ask anyone anything, go and ask your mom, dad. I clock off. I'm not your mother right now. And they're like, okay then. fine with that. And then the baby will just burst in whenever she feels like it. So there's no hard feelings, don't get me wrong. Children don't mind. They've heard me say it 100 times. But yeah, I'm really protective over my time and space so much right now. I fully understand and appreciate how important it is for me to just have silence. And it's important for me to have time where I entertain myself as well, because again, you can just kind of keep going. We home educate. I home educate during the day, and then when I finish home educating, I will work in the evenings. And I used to have no break between home educating and jumping straight into work. And sometimes I don't, because I home educate during the day, and then sometimes I'm on coaching calls through the evenings. Recently, there's been a lot of interviews that I've been doing in the evenings and stuff like that. But and I used to think I just had to keep going. And that's when I started developing mental health challenges. And now I fully understand that I need to give myself time to rest and relax without guilt, because then that's just another layer of mental health challenges that's attached with the guilt and shame of not constantly working or not constantly bringing in and providing and all those kind of things. And again, I would never want for you during this time to develop that feeling of guilt or shame that you haven't done all these amazing things during lockdown, because if the only thing you decide you focus on with your extra time during lockdown is observing some periods of silence and meditating more and doing some affirmations and goal setting and all those kind of things, so that you come out of this lockdown period in a better space mentally, and with more goals, and using affirmations to help you to work towards those goals so that you can create a better life for yourself. That would have been time perfectly spent, not just well spent, but perfectly spent. So thank you so much for everyone who has joined me today. Greetings, Gary. Thank you for calling in. Thank you, Angela, for coming in. Lovely to see you all. My name's Leah, Salmon, the Naturally You Coach. I'm a best-selling author, speaker, nutritionist, life coach, live blood analyst on a mission to help 100,000 Black women to eat for health, think for happiness, and live in harmony, or what I call becoming naturally you. Today, I was speaking about 3 holistic investments that you can make in your life right now. The first one we spoke about was finances. Some of the things that I would recommend that we do right now is to work out how we can secure other streams of income, how we can start to save more, and how we can get some advice on our current financial situation so that we can be more secured financially, whether that's getting income protection insurance or life insurance, or different products that you can invest in, maybe doing some investing. I'm not sure about the stock market right now, but investing in something, whether that's investing in yourself, your business, those types of things that you can start working on and planning right now. The next area that we looked at was your skills and knowledge in your career, and how you can invest in those things right now. The first thing I'd recommend is you decide whether you still like the work that you're doing. If you have had to take time off work, or the way that you're working has changed, and you have a bit more time, you can make that decision now and decide, do you really like the work that you're doing, or is it time for you to change and move on to something else? If you do like the work that you're doing, then maybe you can use this time to develop your skills so you can be even better at the work that you're doing. And if your work and your career is not something you need to start focusing on because you've always worked on it and you've always, continually developed yourself career-wise, then maybe now you can develop your skills, your personal skills, and personally develop yourself, whether that's improving in the hobbies or taking up hobbies or restarting hobbies that you didn't have time to do before, developing your skills and your knowledge about how you can look after your health and your wellness. I know there's a brother who is studying herbal medicine right now. There's a lot of people are doing fitness challenges. You might want to learn yoga, you might want to learn Pilates, you might want to learn a particular dance style. So developing yourself personally and developing your skills and knowledge in that way. And then as far as health is concerned, again, our mental health is being challenged right now for a lot of us, and a lot of our physical health is being compromised, or we feel like our physical health has been compromised due to what's been happening in the world and in the environment with this global pandemic. So now's an opportunity for us to start focusing on how we can secure our health so that we're less likely to succumb to the contagious disease that's that's going around right now, and how we can prevent ourselves from being a victim of this in the future, or just having our health challenged in any type of way in the future by developing and strengthening ourselves. And we can do that with our diet, by making sure we're drinking enough water, making sure that we are adding more raw foods to our life. If you do want to make a diet change that you feel is going to improve your health, like going vegan or plant-based, then making steps towards doing that, and doing that in a healthy way, because not all veganism is healthy, not all plant-based diets are healthy, but making those kind of steps to ensure you are making a healthy change to your diet, removing foods that you know are challenging to your diet and your health, like sugar, like dairy, like a lot of processed foods, adding more healthy foods to your life. So like that's something you can literally start planning on doing right now. And then as far as our physical health is concerned, getting more rest, exercising more. Definitely we can start exercising more. There's that guy Joe who's got the free live videos that he was doing, the exercise videos every morning that he was doing. There are so many fitness companies that are going online and doing Instagram lives every day at 12 o'clock or every day at 6 o'clock. If you literally just go on and put some searches in for fitness, there are so many exercise coaches who are offering free services now, much less the online exercise programs that you can join now. And most of us have probably already got a fitness program that they've just had sitting there that they haven't been utilizing. And sometimes it is the hardest thing for me to do is when my husband comes up and he's like, yeah, ready to do some workout? Do you want to do your 10 minutes now? I never want to do it. I almost never want to do it, in fact. Recently, I was a lot more enthusiastic about going to the gym. I used to actually love going to the gym. I really loved going to the gym. Working out at home I'm not as enthusiastic about it, but I do try and make sure that I do it. We have been aiming to make sure that we do work out as much as possible since the lockdown situation has happened. And it's something that we can all do, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 50 minutes, whether it's, half an hour, however much time you can, but in making sure you're getting your body moving, because exercise is one of the things that definitely does help to help your immune system. And then as far as our mental health is concerned, things like affirmations, goal setting initially, working out what we do want to achieve in our life that is going to bring us joy, creating affirmations from that, and then creating things like a vision board that can visually help to remind you of what it is that you want to achieve in your life, practicing some meditation or learning about meditation, and then having moments of stillness and silence as well. All of those things can help to help your physical health, and those are things that you can start practicing today, tonight. You can, before you go to bed, before you actually fall asleep, you can sit down in silence and just go inward and listen and see what comes up, because again, one of the biggest parts of spiritual development is learning how to be still and quiet and listen. So even if you feel like you're not really good at meditating, or you've never learned how to meditate, or you're not sure about it, that is one of the things that you can do to get started, is literally just sitting in stillness and quiet and going inward. So those are the 3 things that I'd recommend that you can do to invest in your health right now. Greetings. Oh, thank you so much for posting that, sis. You can find out more about the work that I do at thenaturallyyoucoach.com, which has just been put in the comments. Again, if you want to get your hands on some of my books, there's the Naturally You 25% off sale, which is happening on all of my books and ebooks, and it finishes this Sunday at 11:59 p.m. GMT. So you can find out about the books that are available there at thenaturallyyoucoach.com/shop. If you are a Black woman who wants to become a mother, or you have ever been a mother, or you have children of any age and you want to join, I would invite you to join our group called the Black Mama Circle, which starts with a 9-week natural health and personal development online program that's going to be starting on Thursday the 30th of April, and you can find out more about that program that's been designed specifically for Black mothers, to help give you the time and space to develop yourself personally and to focus on your natural health. You can find out more about that course at thenaturallyyoucoach.com/Black Mama Circle or blackmamacircle.com. And as always, I would recommend that you join the mailing list on my website, thenaturallyyoucoach.com, so that you can find out when I'm going live, because the time changes slightly where I'm going live, different events, products, services that are available, getting additional discounts on things that I do have available. Newsletter subscribers get an additional discount on most things, as well as finding out about new podcasts, articles, videos, and other things that I have going on. Thank you again so much for joining me today on this live. I will be back again on Monday, Monday at 9:30, 9:45, around that time, on Facebook and Instagram. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Take care and stay healthy.